Uganda is one of the most culturally diverse nations in Africa, home to more than 50 ethnic groups with deep histories, ancient migrations, and strong cross-border ties. But many of these communities do not exist only within Uganda's borders. Long before colonial boundaries divided the Great Lakes region, tribes moved freely in search of fertile land, trade routes, sacred mountains, and safer pastures. As a result, entire cultural groups that we often think of as Ugandan are actually spread across modern-day Kenya, South Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda, Burundi, and even Tanzania. Their languages, traditions, and identities connect families separated by borders drawn on maps, not in their hearts. In this video, we explore 10 Ugandan tribes that exist across multiple African countries, revealing how history, migration, and culture have shaped their presence across East and Central Africa. The Bagisu, Bukusu. The Bagisu, also known as the Gisu or Masaba, are a Bantu-speaking people who live on the fertile slopes of Mount Elgon in eastern Uganda. But this community extends far beyond Uganda's borders. On the Kenyan side of Mount Elgon, their close relatives are known as the Bukusu, the largest subgroup within the Luya ethnic confederation. Despite modern borders, the Bagisu and Bukusu share a strong cultural bond, common ancestry, and near-identical languages. Their famous Imbalu circumcision ceremony, a defining rite of passage for young men, is practiced on both sides of the border with remarkable similarity. Historically, the Bagisu migrated freely around Mount Elgon, seeking agricultural land and security. Today, families remain split between Uganda and Kenya, but their identity remains unified. Whether called Bagisu or Bukusu, this community stands as one of the most powerful examples of cross-border cultural continuity in East Africa. The Iteso. The Iteso are a Nilotic Hamitic people whose homeland stretches across the Teso region of eastern Uganda and deep into western Kenya. Their presence in both countries traces back centuries, long before colonial borders were drawn. The Ateso speak Ateso, maintain similar clan structures, and preserve shared traditions on both sides of the border. They are known for mixed farming, cattle keeping, and vibrant cultural dances such as ahosi, performed during community celebrations. In Kenya, the Iteso are primarily found in areas around Busia and the former Western and Rift Valley provinces. Their cross-border connections remain strong, as families intermarry and cultural festivals attract participants from both nations. Despite differences in national identity, the Iteso continue to see themselves as one people. Their history illustrates how the Great Lakes region's ethnic map is far older and more fluid than the political boundaries created in the 20th century. The Acholi. The Acholi are part of the larger Luo-speaking Nilotic family and inhabit northern Uganda as well as significant portions of South Sudan. Historically, the Acholi migrated across the region in search of grazing land, forming powerful chiefdoms centered around clan unity and spiritual leadership. Their language, Acholi, is mutually intelligible across borders, and their cultural symbols such as traditional dances like bwola remain identical in both countries. While colonial boundaries eventually separated them into two nations, the Acholi continue to maintain deep kinship ties. Their traditions emphasize respect for elders, communal decision-making, and the role of spiritual intermediaries known as Rawodi. Conflicts in northern Uganda and South Sudan forced even more movements across borders, strengthening their transnational identity. Today, the Acholi stand as a resilient community whose history, culture, and family networks connect Uganda and South Sudan in profound ways. The Lugbara. The Lugbara are a central Sudanic people who occupy the northwestern region of Uganda, particularly around Arua, but their cultural footprint extends into the Democratic Republic of Congo. In Congo, they are sometimes referred to as the Alur Lugbara complex, highlighting their connections with related groups. Historically, the Lugbara lived in decentralized chiefdoms, relying on agriculture and trade across the porous colonial borders that would later divide their homeland. Despite being split between Uganda and the DRC, the Lugbara share the same language, social norms, and ancestral myths. Their traditional beliefs emphasize clan spirits and community rituals that reaffirm unity. Many Lugbara families today remain transnational, with relatives living on both sides of the border. Their story shows how communities in the Great Lakes region developed long-lasting relationships that ignore political boundaries, maintaining a shared identity that thrives in both Uganda and eastern Congo. The Alur. The Alur are another Luo-speaking people found in northwestern Uganda and the Ituri region of the Democratic Republic of Congo. These two communities consider themselves one people, separated only by modern borders. In Congo, the Alur established strong kingdoms, most notably the Alur Kingdom, which still exists symbolically today. Their language, culture, and clan systems remain consistent across countries. Traditionally, the Alur were skilled farmers and fishermen, especially around Lake Albert and the Semliki River. Their cross-border movement was shaped by trade routes, intermarriage, and seasonal migrations. Even today, Alur communities in Congo and Uganda frequently interact during cultural festivals, funerals, and royal ceremonies. Their ability to maintain unity despite national separation highlights the deep historical ties that link the Great Lakes region. The Alur remain a powerful illustration of cultural resilience and shared heritage. The Banyarwanda. Although strongly associated with Rwanda and Burundi, the Banyarwanda form a significant minority in southwestern Uganda, especially in districts like Kisoro and Kabale. Their presence predates colonial rule, with centuries of migration linked to cattle herding, trade, and population movements from the Rwanda-Burundi highlands. The Banyarwanda share language, Kinyarwanda, clan identities, and traditions across all three countries. In Uganda, they have integrated deeply into society while maintaining connections with communities across the border. Some arrived as early as the 1700s, while others migrated during the Rwandan kingdom's expansion or during later political upheavals in the Great Lakes region. Despite living in different countries, their culture from indoor dance to cattle-keeping traditions remains remarkably unified. The Banyarwanda demonstrate how ethnic identity in East Africa often transcends national borders created during the colonial era. The Bakonjo, Bamba. The Bakonjo and Bamba inhabit the mountainous region around the Rwenzori Mountains, straddling the border between western Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. These groups have lived on the mountain slopes for centuries, maintaining a strong, shared identity despite their separation into two nations. Known for their resilience in the rugged Rwenzori terrain, they practice terrace farming, animal husbandry, and rich spiritual traditions tied to the mountains, which they consider sacred. The Bakonjo and Bamba share languages, clan systems, and cultural rites, including rituals honoring the mountain spirits. Their communities remain closely linked through trade, marriage, and seasonal movement across the border. Today, they continue to preserve their cultural heritage in both Uganda and Congo, proving that mountain communities often maintain unity despite political division. The Karamojong. The Karamojong are a Nilotic Hamitic pastoralist people living in northeastern Uganda. Their identity is strongly connected to cattle, nomadism, and age-old warrior traditions. But their cultural reach extends far beyond Uganda. The Karamojong are closely related to the Turkana of northwestern Kenya and the Toposa of South Sudan. These groups share a common ancestral origin and speak closely related languages. Historically, they migrated across the semi-arid plains in search of pasture and water, moving freely across what are now national borders. Their customs, such as cattle raids, age-set systems, and pastoral ceremonies remain similar across all three communities. Even today, Karamojong, Turkana, and Toposa clans meet for trade, alliances, and cultural rituals. This shared heritage makes the Karamojong one of East Africa's strongest cross-border ethnic networks. The Batwa. The Batwa, often referred to as forest people, are among the oldest indigenous groups in the Great Lakes region. Traditionally hunter-gatherers, the Batwa lived in the forests of southwestern Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, long before the arrival of Bantu and Nilotic groups. Their cross-border presence reflects ancient settlement patterns rather than later migrations. The Batwa share a deep spiritual connection with the forest, practicing rituals centered on nature, healing, and ancestral spirits. Despite living across 4 countries, their cultural identity remains unified, though they have faced marginalization and displacement over time. Many Batwa communities were removed from national parks and forest reserves, forcing them into new forms of livelihood. Nevertheless, their shared history, language varieties, and traditions connect Batwa communities across the region, making them one of the most widespread indigenous groups in Central and East Africa.